Hey, I'm Gary Nabors, and I'm back at the East Coast Hot Wheels Museum in Maryland, and today we're going to continue our look at the 16 original Hot Wheels cars from 1968, known as the Sweet 16. In this episode, we'll look at cars 9 through 12. I love all of these cars, and I can't wait to show them to you, so let's get the show on the road. Number 9 on the list is the Custom Mustang. Next to the Camaro, this is probably the most popular early Hot Wheels car collected. The car was based on the 1967 Mustang Fastback. The Hot Wheels Mustang was released the same year as the movie Bullitt, starring Steve McQueen, which included the most famous car chase of all time. The movie featured a Highland green-colored 1968 Mustang GT, so that was a nice little accidental tie-in with the Hot Wheels car. Of course, every guy in 1968 wanted to be Steve McQueen driving that Mustang, which recently sold for $3.4 million at auction. The very first Hot Wheels custom Mustangs from Hong Kong were released in red and gold, and in the US, the first Mustangs were released in blue. There are a couple of differences on the US and Hong Kong Mustangs. The US Mustangs have a black painted front grille, they have a fuel cap on the rear end, and a bone line that transects the front wheel well. The bone line is the hard, almost sharp line that runs across the profile of most modern cars. Hong Kong Mustangs have an unpainted front grille, no fuel cap on the rear end, and a bone line that runs the whole length of the car and does not pass through the wheel well. There are a ton of great variations to look for on the Mustang, as in the case of the Camaro. Probably the most desired Mustangs are the early Hong Kong issues that have open hood scoops. These open hood scoop Mustangs are found in either gold or red and had interiors that matched the body color. The red had a light red interior and the gold came with a goldish brown interior. They also had a body color painted tail and deep dish wheels. There are also a few red open hood scoop Mustangs with white interior, but these are very rare. The open hood scoop Mustang was a short production run because when these cars were painted, the body color paint got into the engine compartment. The engine then had to be touched up by hand with silver paint. After a few weeks of this, it was decided that inspection and hand painting of each Mustang was adding expense and slowing production, so the hood was replaced by one with no openings. Another desirable variation on the Mustang is the first ever US issue that has the bone line running all the way from the rear to the front, passing above the front wheel well. These were the very first US production Mustangs. The body was changed shortly thereafter so that the bone line passes through the front wheel well. Virtually all of these have been found in blue, and they're just a handful known in red. A third popular variation of the Mustang is a US late-run version where the interior glass was replaced by glass that had louvers in the rear windshield. These are referred to as louvered rear window Mustangs. These came only in either orange or medium blue, often in stunt action track sets. The plastic part for the louvered rear window was thought to have been made for another car, the Mustang Boss Hoss, which debuted as a chrome-plated Hot Wheels club car in 1970. The Boss Hoss club car had a black louvered rear window, but it's the same part as seen in the original louvered rear window Mustang. The Boss Hoss was then released in 1971 as a mainline car, and the same casting was used in the mid-70s for a car called the Mustang Stalker, which was in the Hot Wheels lineup for about 10 years. In terms of values, the most valuable Mustang that's not a prototype, but was also not a regular commercial release, is one that was included in some 1968 store displays. This is the watermelon colored Mustang, which is valued at about $3,500. For regular commercial issues, the Hong Kong creamy pink Mustang tops the list at about $3,000. The US dark brown Mustang is valued also at about $2,500. The US orange or the light blue car with the louvered rear window, these cars have really shot up in value recently. They currently sell for about $2,000 each. And for the open hood scoop cars, a mint red one sells for about $1,200 and the gold at about $900. And a common color for the Mustang will fetch about $200 to $300, but for most colors, they will sell above that price. Okay, we're going to stick with the Ford Motor Company for the next member of the Sweet 16. We're going to hit the custom TBird. This model was based on the 1967 Ford Thunderbird two-door Landau. This was the fifth generation TBird that was made from 1967 to 1971. For this new redesign, Ford moved the TBird up market to differentiate it from the Mustang and made it more of a luxury car in line with the Lincoln. So the TBird of 1967 was really nothing like the TBird that Ford launched in the mid-50s. The Hot Wheels TBird was originally made in aqua and gold. In terms of differences between the casting made in both countries, the US version was issued with and without a black painted roof. It had the front grille painted black, and the Hong Kong version only came with the black roof and had an unpainted front grille. The aqua and gold cars can be found with the deep dish wheels. Collectors look for US versions of the TBird that lack the black roof. These are always hard to find in good condition, in really any color. And like the custom Firebird, some late-run custom TBirds from the US were also issued with door lines on the side of the body. These have been found in gold, aqua, and antifreeze color. And like the Doorline Firebird, the Doorline TBird was probably made when Mattel was progressing towards making a new car, the TN TBird, which was released in 1970 as part of the spoiler series. And you can see that the TN TBird has these deep door outlines on the side. There's also a unique color and interior combo on the TBird that was only included in the 1968 retail store display, and these cars were painted gold and had a white interior. The most valuable variations on the TBird include the US antifreeze with black roof and door lines, which is valued at about $1,500. The US gold with white interior store display car is valued at about $1,500, but as I said, it was not a commercial issue. And the orange TBird is valued at about $1,200 to $1,500. Common colors on the TBird will run about $125 to $200, but all cars with the door lines will sell for more than that. Okay, that about wraps it up for the TBird, and next up is the only foreign car on our list, and let me tell you, it's not the first car you think of when you think of hot rods, it's the custom Volkswagen. The Hot Wheels version of the Volkswagen was based on the 1967 VW Beetle. And you know what? I think I can show you what one of those actually looks like. Well, hey, here it is, the 1967 Volkswagen Beetle. This is the car that inspired the custom Volkswagen that was released in 1968. And here's one of those right here. It looks pretty cool with this big blown engine up front, right? Well, let me tell you a little secret about Volkswagen Beetles. The engine's in the back. Well, here we have a bunch of Hot Wheels custom Volkswagens, and just like the real VW Beetles, there are a lot of people who love this car and collect them with a passion. The custom Volkswagen was designed as a collaboration between Harry Bradley and Ira Guilford, who Bradley helped bring into Mattel. Guilford designed over 70 different Hot Wheels cars during his time at Mattel. In terms of differences between the Hong Kong and the US-made Volkswagens, the US car has silver painted headlights and a metal engine. On the Hong Kong car, the headlights are part of the base of the car and extend through holes in the car's body, and the engine is made of plastic. With respect to interesting variations on the VW, the variation on the Volkswagen that definitely gets the most attention is the custom Volkswagen that lacks a sunroof. This is actually a completely different body casting than the US or standard Hong Kong Volkswagen. These were made in Hong Kong only, and they were apparently made for the UK and the German market. These no sunroof bugs have been found in about 7 different colors, but virtually all of them are blue. Another interesting variation is on the early run US issues that have the words Custom Volkswagen embossed on the base in all capital letters. Collectors refer to these as all caps Volkswagens, and these cars are thought to be from the very first production run in the United States. A variation that I like is the Hong Kong issue with the green enamel paint. The use of enamel paint was unusual for a car originally issued in 1968. The only other enamel paint car released in 1968 was the white Ford J car, so this bug is kind of an oddball. After the custom Volkswagen, the VW Beetle was next released as the Evil Weevil as part of the Spoiler series. But that was a whole new casting. Other versions of the Beetle were also released during the mid-70s, but none of these used the same exact parts as the original custom Volkswagen. The most valuable custom Volkswagens are the no sunroof issues in colors other than blue. A nice blue one might cost around $1,000 to $1,200, and other colors without the sunroof will range from about $2,000 to $5,000, but they rarely come up for sale at all. The most valuable variations among cars that have the sunroof are the US Yellow at around $1,200, then the Hot Pink, which will sell for about $1,000. The Hong Kong light blue Volkswagen also sells for around $1,000. And a Volkswagen in a common color in nice shape will cost about $100. You won't be able to drive it around, but it will look really cool on your desk. Okay, on to another iconic show car, again, one designed by Harry Bradley, and that is the Diora. The next member of the Sweet 16 was based upon a real show car that was built by Mike and Larry Alexander in Detroit for the 1967 Detroit Autorama. The Autorama is a showcase of custom cars and hot rods held each year. The Alexander brothers commissioned the design from Harry Bradley himself in 1964. And the Diora, believe it or not, started life as a 1965 Dodge A100 pickup truck. The car took its name following a naming contest held by AMT Model Cars, a company that made plastic model kits. The name Diora, submitted by a 13-year-old boy, came from taking the B out of the name Deborah, the name of the boy's girlfriend. One thing you might notice about the real Diora is that it has no driver or passenger door. That's because it's about the only car around that you get in by climbing over the front grille. The original car also didn't have surfboards on the bed. That was a Mattel edition. It's been written that Harry Bradley violently objected to the inclusion of surfboards on the Hot Wheels car, but Mattel won out. The memorable Diora was manufactured in the US and in Hong Kong, like the rest of the cars in 1968. There is a front-end design difference between the US and Hong Kong Diora, as you can see here. The US cars have ribbed headlights, while the Hong Kong cars have smooth headlights. Also, the plastic surfboards differ between those made in the US and in Hong Kong. The US surfboards have shorter fins and a stock number on the bottom, while the Hong Kong-made surfboards have a tall tail fin and no stock number on the bottom. These same surfboards from Hong Kong were used in 1969 for the Volkswagen Beach Bomb, another Hot Wheels car that's hugely popular with collectors. The surfboards have been reproduced, and the originals are increasing in value. And with a little practice, you can spot the difference between original and reproduction surfboards. In 1970, like the Fleetside, the Hong Kong Diora was modified into a new car called the Aero Launcher, also known as the Sky Show Diora. These were sold in a set released only in Canada, and they were also equipped with a ramp to launch planes into the air. Sky Show Diuras are much more rare than Sky Show fleet sides and sell for about $1,000 with the original ramp. In terms of interesting variations on the Diora, the main variation that collectors look for is the early run edition of the Hong Kong Diora, which has body color paint on the base. We also saw this on the custom fleet side. And on the Diora, these only came in antifreeze or gold. The Diora only came in about 8 colors, and the most valuable Diora by far is the US Blue issue, which is sold for up to $3,000. Next is the US Red or Green, which is valued at about $350. But generally the Diora is an inexpensive car. Common colors sell for under $100. Most of them for sale are missing the surfboards, or they have reproduction surfboards. And a genuine pair of surfboards now sells for $40 or $50 on their own. I really recommend that if you have a Diora that doesn't have surfboards, that you don't buy reproduction surfboards, but buy original ones. You'll be happier in the end to have an all-original Sweet 16 car from 1968. Well, thanks for joining me today for our continuing look at the original Hot Wheels cars from 1968. We've only got 4 more cars left from the famous Sweet 16 to review, and in the next episode, we'll take a look at 3 amazing miniature show cars and the only car in the whole lineup that was purpose-built for racing. I'm Gary Nabors, and I'll see you next time on Sweet 16, the original Hot Wheels cars from 1968.